but some of you might not. It's amazing looking out and seeing just so many different aspects of our life and friends and family and friends of friends, and it's just really touching, and I'm super excited you're all here. But in 2012, our oldest son, Mitchell, began having strange neurological symptoms that the best doctors in the world just couldn't figure out. They ran a lot of tests, they tried therapies and drugs, and as some of you know, sometimes they seem to help, and he seemed to get better for a little bit, but then he would just decline without really any explanation. So during this time in our life, we had a lot of support from family and friends, a lot of you here who contributed in some way to supporting us throughout that time period. But the honest truth is, no matter how much support we received, we always felt alone. Nobody could understand what we were going through, what Mitchell was going through. So after 5 years of a lot of trial and error, frankly a lot of error, Mitchell was referred to the Undiagnosed Diseases Network. Through cutting-edge research, they placed his genetic code into fruit flies, and they identified a never-before-identified genetic mutation in a gene called ACOX1. So their discovery received additional confirmation in 2018 when they found an additional patient in South Korea, and in 2019, a third patient in the United States. So with those 3 patients, they had confirmation that this new mutation was causing a new disease that they had never discovered before. And in early 2020, they published the first article where they named the disease Mitchell syndrome in honor of our Mitchell. I think he would have been happy to lend his name to the illness, though he kind of joked that he would name it like sucks big time or something. But Mitchell syndrome, I think he would have been excited about. He was always willing to share his experiences with medical providers. He was seen at Washington University, St. Louis Children's Hospital, which is a teaching facility. And so medical students are always wanting to meet patients with weird diseases who are willing to talk to them. And so whenever they hear that this cool kid with a weird disease who's willing to talk was on the floor, they would come and he would, of course, say, sure, I'll tell you my whole story over and over. So in addition to interviewing with medical students, he was willing to endure extra testing, spinal taps. He was on a really weird diet and tried a new drug that ended up not helping him, but ultimately the data that they got from him is now going to help that drug be used for other patients with other neurological disorders. So that was really amazing. His last gift to science was donating his body to a neurological pathology lab at Washington University. So through this donation, they were able to see what this disease and this genetic mutation was actually doing to his spinal cord, nerves, and ultimately his brain. This data that they collect, it's called post-mortem, is vital for new disease discovery. And I want to take an opportunity to give a huge thank you to Mitchell's neuromuscular doctor, Dr. Bob Puccelli, who is here. He is on our scientific advisory committee, and I really just have to say that it would have been really hard for me to do that final sign-off of donating Mitchell's body for research if Dr. Puccelli and the other neurologists at Washington University hadn't shown me the truth of their character and their integrity, and I knew that his body and his tissue would be honored and his donation would be respected by all the physicians there in the lab where his tissue continues to be stored and be used. So thank you so much. So after his death and the publication of that article that I told you about, we slowly started to get contacted by other families or other patients, and it really is the most bittersweet feeling to wake up in the morning and open up my Gmail and I have an email that says, hello, our son or daughter was just diagnosed with Mitchell syndrome. I'm always so happy. The first thing is I'm so happy that they found us, right? But then I have an overwhelming sadness knowing, one, the journey that they had to get to that, and then the journey that's coming. Because it is really a huge step to know, it's called Mitchell syndrome, that's huge. But then there's so much after that because they quickly learn, but wait, you're telling me there's nothing we can do about it yet? And so, it's really this range of emotions. And that's what we're really trying to do, is to do something about it. The next step has got to be finding treatments that actually work. So we are trying to support families and research treatments that may help people like Mitchell. Matt is going to tell you more about that, but first I'm very excited to introduce you to Mary Lajani. She's going to come on up. And Mary and her husband Casey and son Michael are our special guests tonight. They are here from Houston. Mary is one of those moms that sent me an email and I woke up one morning and it said, "Hello, our son has just been diagnosed with Mitchell syndrome." She's going to describe a little bit of her journey and what the foundation has meant to her. And I'm just so thankful that they're here, and I hope you will welcome them.